Hello, and welcome to our Daily Magic, where we talk about rituals we can use to cultivate magic in our daily lives, or how are we being the magic that we wish to see in the world. Today, we have a very, very special guest.
Do I introduce names and stuff?
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Kareem.
I am Dell.
Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. Of course, want to express our deepest gratitude for our audience from all over the world and wherever you're listening to us right now, whether it be Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or you're going to listen to it later on iTunes. We love you, we appreciate you, and you all are just magical beings. So, with that said, and the perfect segue for magical beings, I like to give the formal introduction of our guest. So our guest's name is Kawan Glover, and I'm going to share his story. But then, of course, like what we like to do, we like people to showcase their magic and go deeper into it. So Kawan Glover is a survivor because he has lived through a stroke and three brain surgeries. He also dealt with suicidal ideations, one attempt for suicide, opioid addictions, depression, and been $1.2 million in medical debt. Despite these hardships, he has started his own company called Overcome Adversity, which leverages ordeal to help others, and the name says, overcome their adversity no matter what the shape or form. He is also a writer, public speaker, and a self published author of a memoir entitled Favor: How Stroke, Struggle, and Surgery Helped Me Find My Life Purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Kawan.
Hello, everyone. It is an honor to be here to share with you all my journey, and I'm so happy to be here with you two because you're awesome. So,
Thank you, brother. And I'm just a mirror. You're just seeing the awesome that's within you as well. So I wanted to put that right back at you that you're awesome as well. And powerful story. And can't wait to get into it. But what we like to do before we get into it is give our intro drop. So hit it.
So, wow,
that was
what a
super cool.
It's so funny. Everybody says that because they don't know that that's going to happen. That stuff. But we have a lot of fun little toys that we're going to be playing with, and this is pretty much our little playground of us three sharing our magic together and co-create something very, very powerful. And already got a comment. And Garrett, we love you too.
yeah.
So, oh, you want to do it or?
Well, we've also got some really cool things going on here. Do you want to save it?
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
save it. We'll save it for the moments that they use. So, with that being said, the very first question that we love to ask our guests and to get right into it is we got the introduction, the formal introduction that you had, but I want to give a magical introduction into you. So, Kawan, the question for you first is what is your magic?
My magic. I'm very resilient and disciplined by nature, but I would say my magic is just overcoming whatever challenges face me. Like it seems I always, I call myself a serial overcomer in that every adversity, every obstacle, every challenge I face, I find a solution within and bring that forward to solve that problem. So that's my magic.
Hmm. Love it, love it, love it. And the perfect segue for that is this journey, because from your formal introduction, it definitely shares a story of how it seemed like how you was able to discover this magic. So definitely get more deeper into it because love to learn more about the experience for you, what was going on, what like the emotions, the thoughts, and also the process of you discovering your magic. So
Kind of like your superhero origin story.
yeah, there we go, superhero story.
That is exactly what that story is. That is exactly what my book is about. I mean, someone has just literally started calling my origin story like yesterday. And a lot of times when I tell this story, I go through the surgery and then stroke and the surgeries and the surgery. And a lot of times the depth of this story is not in the hospital. It's not what takes place with me physically. It's what I had to deal with and overcome the trauma I faced on an emotional, mental, and spiritual level. So it was, it's interesting to say, oh, well, what was it like in the hospital? And that's not really the question people should ask or need to ask, because I didn't have to do anything in the hospital. I just laid there and let the professionals do their work. It was the battles that I continued to have when I went home at night, or, after everything was over, because I had spent my life fighting this adversity, and then there was no longer a fight, and then I didn't know what my purpose was, and then I fell into the trap of, well, this shouldn't happen to me. This isn't fair, and I think about something Les Brown says. Well, if not, then if not who, if not you, then who? Do you have any suggestions? And then I realized the whole arc of this story, the first part of my origin story, was really to dig something out of me that was always there but had never been utilized. And that's why the book is titled Find My Purpose, because now I found what I'm destined to do, and now I need to find the best way to utilize this. So sharing with people like you and your audience, I think that is an effective tool. The amount of mental discipline I've developed, the amount of perseverance, resilience, and one of the biggest things I realized is that it's not what happened in the hospital. It's not the physical challenge. It's not the physical recovery. It's often the negative thought loops. It's often the perspective we gain. It's often a person staring back at you in the mirror that ends up being your biggest inhibitor. And that's, the person I had to face. That's literally in my book called, a chapter in my book called Facing Myself. And that was where I really dug into the mirror. And again, this is just the origin story. There's, of course, some more that has to come out. But for the most part now, as of August 22nd, 2020, that was the first time I was able to write my journal that I felt whole. And now I'm in a place where I am spreading this message and aiming to change the world one story at a time.
Yeah. Wow. So we're talking about your superpowers, right? Would you like to talk about how you integrate them into your daily life? I mean, it's a wonderful story how you've gone from, the hospital to being back home, and now what does it look like every day?
Yeah, so I like to say that my superpower is vulnerability, my weapon of choice is empathy, and my story is my fuel source. And for me, since I'm a creature of habit, discipline and routine generally come easy to me. So when I get up in the morning, I have a very standard routine that happens no matter what day it is. It involves meditation, prayer, exercise, those things that, because a lot of times when you don't have a set routine, your mind starts to wander off, and it's easy for you to develop those negative thoughts or the worry or the depression, thinking backwards and forwards. So I give myself an hour or two in a day where I just spend time with myself, rooted in that present moment. I think those are the things that really help me root myself and find solace and peace throughout the day. Also, my foundation of everything is gratitude. And when I get up, the first thing I say before I speak to anyone, before I leave my phone, I'm grateful to be alive. And then now I have the opportunity to express that through my actions, thoughts, and feelings throughout the day. So it is, you know, those superpowers are applied when I talk to other people, but I also have to express some of that empathy, some of that grace towards myself, in order to give back to others, because you can't point to other people's cup if your cup is empty. So I fill myself up, and then I go out into the world.
Whew. I wish there's a rewind button. But we do have a magical bomb sound effect for what he just said. So you got the bomb?
I don't have the bomb.
Okay. Boom! I got the bomb. But what he just said was so profound, how he fills his own cup before giving his cup to others. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are listening who do the opposite. They give their cup before they fill up their cup. So it's sort of like serving an empty cup, serving it on fumes, and just how powerful is being able to set that time in the morning. Like the first thing that you said you do is take care of you before you take care of others. Make sure you're good. But also, I love the attitude of gratitude of you being grateful. I just started to integrate that this week more of this that grateful being grateful in every moment and also being grateful in the morning, like waking up, like you say, I am thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to be alive. And you have a story that you definitely can integrate that even more, being thankful for being alive. Like, yeah.
And you know the thing, Dale, is that I just thought about this. Like this literally just came to me. You know, people are so financially savvy, and you know, I'm managing my money correctly, and I never want to be in debt. But people fall easily to this trap into this trap where they are willing to go in debt with their self.
Mm,
So again, when you give to others and there's nothing in your cup, you're giving away part of yourself that you need to, you know, you're going into debt with yourself. You're digging into your soul, your life energy to give to others instead of having something, you know, a little bit water in your cup, a little bit of something there to give to other people. So, you know, a lot of times people are going to focus on the physical and the financial and the outer things that, you know, the world can see. But if you're so quickly to not have time for yourself or willing to go in depth with yourself and your life energy, I think that's actually taken away from your magic. And I encourage you, I implore you that are listening today, stop doing that. Give to yourself before you can give to others.
mm,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Ready for our first button?
yeah,
Let's see what this sounds like. Nothing.
nothing. You play, you place the button of silence.
Silence. Yes.
He just made a good topic or a good topic to go a little bit deeper into because we have three people here. We all could share different perspectives,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But what do you feel is like the reason, and based upon your own experience, and also just what is your perception about that of why people are given away first before receiving from themselves?
A lot of times, I feel like what naturally comes to me when you ask that question is the perception they have of what other people think of them. So if I'm a generous person, if I'm always giving and always being, you know, the person that helps and always giving with my time and energy, my money, you know, people will like me. And that is a distraction from what you like. Do you like you? How
Mm,
am I going to really appreciate? How am I going to be really uh, affectionate? How am I going to be a real friend, a real partner, a real whatever? If like people are more perceptive than we actually believe. I can tell in a conversation or your body language or the sound of your voice if you really believe what you're saying. If you're really giving from the goodness of your heart or you're giving to get something from me, which a lot of time is I want you to like me. So I'm doing this for you or I'm doing this for you so I can have a favor later. Like there are ways that really stands out. And when you're giving from an empty cup in order to gain like or favor from another person, it shows. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons people do that, and they don't even realize they're doing it. But you are.
mm, I love that. Great,
Yeah.
great perspective. And I would love to share mines too, because it's my own personal experience, but our own personal experience of this, there's somebody out there that resonates with. So for myself, when I was given that, an empty cup was given, and it resonates so much with what you're saying, with trying to get people to give me something, trying to receive like acknowledgement, acceptance, love, or whatever, with the hope. So pretty much, I had an expectation like, okay, if I do this, I'm expecting you to give me back X, Y, Z, or give me back whatever. And for myself, I sat with that, and it came for me. It was from my childhood programming of this is belief I had as a kid. Like, okay, if I'm good, I get a toy. if I like listen to what my mom says, maybe I will get something from that or get some love back. If I do this thing, I will make my mom and dad proud of me from doing this thing that I don't really want to do, but I'm doing it to get this approval from my parents. Or if I act this certain way with my partner is going to give me love and acknowledgement that I am not ready to give myself.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And a lot of people don't understand that the program they have, the things they do subconsciously or without thinking about it, it is from your childhood. The way you interact with your parents, the way you interact with people when you were young, the things you saw and absorbed without realizing it as you were growing up. So a lot of that programming, and that's why I spend so much time with myself now because I'm not only meditating, I'm not only praying, I'm not only strengthening my body and my spirit or whatever. I'm also thinking about, okay, what did I learn about myself yesterday? What am I aiming to learn today? What are the things that have stuck with me since childhood, and what are the things I need to unlearn? Every day, those are questions I ask myself because I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly in a state of where I want to be better than the man I was yesterday. And I like what Matthew McConaughey says. I don't look up to any one particular person except the man I'm going to be in 10 years. So when
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this state of constant growth, people should be more like trees. They spend their entire existence growing and nothing else. When we put so much energy into the external and other people's opinions and perceptions, we lose a sense of self. And I think, as a culture, we need to regain that. And we just have a much better world that day. So I completely understand that train of thought.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you so much.
come on. Let's see if I can do it.
Okay.
No. It's so funny. We're trying things out, and like I was looking for a bomb sound effect, but it didn't work. It's perfect.
It will at the
I
right
heard it in my head. It's okay.
Yeah,
time.
because like there's so many magical nuggets that you're just dropping for everybody. So I wanted to allow the space of, like I say, allow it to marinate.
Totally.
Let
And I
that
have a,
breathe.
yeah, yeah. I'd love to share perspective as well. And for me right now, I'm just like thinking about it. I was in a place where guilt was my debt. Where and it actually manifested like in terms of money. Like having little money, I felt guilty because I wasn't giving to myself. Having a lot of money, I felt guilty because I still wasn't giving to myself. So it's like it didn't matter how much money I had. It was about like whether I was giving to myself or not. And that like that feeling of like guilt would literally like manifest as emotional debt. It's like I owed myself the ability to just be in my emotions, but instead I was just ridden with this guilt that didn't go away.
Yeah, and I can directly relate to that because overcoming my guilt was the first key to unlocking my magic, if you will. I think in August 2019, I had I was watching I'm Not Your Guru, like a Tony Robbins documentary on Netflix, and I
Uh-huh.
just like cried, and I was just like, the reason I'm stuck in this space is because I feel guilty, and I think comes from a place where for me, I felt overly responsible for things that were outside of my control. So like it became almost irrational. I was still an undergrad, and I'd be in class. If the projector wasn't working, or a student's pencil broke, or something out of something small like that, I would blame myself. That happened because I'm in the room, because of the energy I bring. That negative thing happened to you, and the person wouldn't even know who I was, but I would take that as like, oh, it's your fault, you're in the room. And I went on to blame myself for the surgeries and having people worry and the money people had to put into it. So it was an overwhelming, all encompassing feeling of guilt. And the minute I start to accept that, hey, I can't control everything. This is life. Things happen that are sometimes out of your sphere of influence. That's when I like to call that one of my things I'm developing now in my company is I'm taking people from victimhood to victory, and I call that moment the bottom of the V. And if you can see, like at the bottom, there's like the most downward point, and at that point, it is up to you to unlock your magic, to use your full potential, to make a decision to get out of that out of that dark place, or you can sit there and wallow it. And I call that kind of a uneven V. But on that journey, there after you make that decision, it doesn't make you healed. It's a decision you make, and now you're going on the right path towards your ultimate self. So again, guilt definitely resonates with me, and it can oftentimes it can turn to shame. I think it started to turn into that, but I made a decision and made the right steps going forward. So I definitely understand guilt.
Ooh. Whew. That was powerful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can ask, I mean, this is a question that's coming out of nowhere, but like, what do you do, with these feelings, when you come across them? Is it like something to do with them or just to leave them as they are? How do you relate to, negative feelings, negative feelings?
When
Yeah.
I'm meditating, I leave them as they are. But when I'm actively walking around, I've developed a practice where I'm now able to combat those negative thoughts. So I realized my trigger. So if I'm not well rested, the voice gets louder and I feel beaten down and browbeaten about, whatever negative thoughts. But now I'm able to, here's the thing about human beings that really baffled me when I understood this. When something negative happens, you automatically accept it. Oh, that person, they did lie to me, even though you don't have all the facts. So I did fail that test, even though you didn't verify with the teacher, you haven't seen your score yet. But if something positive happens, I closed that deal. I got a relationship. It's the first thing you say is that's too good to be true. And I make sure every day I'm flipping that philosophy on its head. So when I something good happens, like that was supposed to happen for me. That was specifically meant for me, and I worked very hard to accept that. So when that negative voice starts to get loud and bold, I'm just like, bro, like relax, like I got this. Like, don't you see the things I'm doing, have done, and will do? Like you can get loud all you want, but you are slowly being eroded. And again, only time I let them be as they are is in meditation, but they my mind is in such a different state it can't penetrate the membrane I'm created around my spirit.
Mm, mm. I have this a question for you directly about that. Um, I just felt intuitively guided to just ask that. Have you ever tried before bring your meditation, what you do in meditation, into just normal living as well? Meaning, like you mentioned in your meditation, when the thoughts come up, you just let it be, and then eventually it goes away. So, in your life, have you ever tried it before? And when those thoughts are running rampant, to just let them be and eventually go away?
So whenever I go into periods of silence, for a couple of hours or a day, I just let the thoughts be,
Yeah.
and eventually they'll get tired of not being responded to and they'll just stop. I went to North Carolina, and this will be covered in my next book. But I went to North Carolina in the Black Hills for a meditation retreat, and I had to be silent for I think 5 to 7 days, something like that.
Wow.
The first 2 days, they're just like, and then after a while, it's like they lose their voice. It's like he's not
Yeah.
even listening to me, so they just fade away. So when you make your life a moving meditation, it's so much easier to just allow those thoughts to dissipate. You can combat them, or you can let them be. Those are two very effective strategies to deal with that negative thought loop.
Yeah. I love it. And this is a great example of how there's infinite ways to the same destination. It's like what works for you in the moment works for you. And Kawan's just showing how uniquely he's integrating his own way of getting to that same destination that he's comfortable with, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty powerful as well.
Yeah, and I it's funny you say that because some people get stuck on one thing I said or the other, and it's always situational. You know, when I'm meditating, it works, but when I'm working out, it may be something different, or vice versa. So again, like Dale said, find what works for you, and then stick with that. Develop a routine, but it takes a bit of practice. It's not just gonna happen. Like I
Yeah.
didn't just start sitting in meditation and silence for the heck of it. Like it didn't take me the first time. It took me about a lot of sessions to get used to that. So it's always about developing that mindset. And when I say developing, it's always a work in progress. It's never you never reach a destination, but you never want to just stare down and walk through life without viewing something. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people have two ways of viewing things, the black and white perspective. I'm all about the results. I'm all about the end of the journey. Or I don't want to look up. I'm scared of what happens, so I'm gonna keep my feet on the ground. I think everything lies in a gray area. So finding what works for you and your unique life experience is the best way to live life.
Yeah. And by the way, the Tony Robbins, we didn't even talk about that. The Netflix movie. Oh my God. That was like that what sparked me to really dive more into life coaching, especially right from the beginning with the guy who was about to kill himself
Yeah.
and how he's able to shift him. And also just hearing Tony's story of his own childhood experience and how he's able to channel his experience to be able to bring out his magic.
And I think what's powerful about Tony Robbins is his ability to interrupt that thought pattern. And I've used that technique before, and it works like a lot. Like if I'm in the middle of a coaching session and they're talking about what was me, and then I just like scream into the camera, and they, why'd you do that? And then they're instantly not thinking about whatever they were thinking about what we're talking about again. I think his ability, and also he has a very physically imposing presence. So the closer he gets to you, and he's like berating you to change your mind, that also helps. But I think he's definitely one of the people that kind of started this whole life coaching thing, and I think it's a beautiful way. Everyone should have a coach, whether it's life coaching, business coaching, coaching for parenting, therapists, whatever. Everybody should have someone else and it's not. If you think about a football coach, they're not on the field in your ear every time something happens, but they're on the sidelines and they can see the field from a different perspective. They can see the field from a non-player perspective, give you a different point of view to attack a certain problem. So that's what coaching really is, just seeing it from a different perspective and allowing you to see the other opportunities you're not executing on.
Yeah.
Totally. And it takes a lot to be coachable. There's definitely a reciprocation, of skill, there. It's a skill to be coachable. Not everybody's coachable.
Hmm. And think about the essence of like coaching, of get or receiving coaching or therapy, is getting to that vulnerable state of asking for help. Something that a lot of us we're afraid to do. Sometimes may not feel worthy of it, or also there's some people are just stubborn. I've been stubborn, like, oh, I'll figure it out myself. I got this. And it having a coach or having a therapist or somebody to hold that space for you, it allows you the opportunity to get quicker to the solution, because you may get the solution on your own, but it happens so much faster and more effortless by having somebody that can hold that space for you to help guide you into that solution.
Yeah, I think for me, I had an easy road to becoming coachable. I mean, it was traumatic, but when life humbles you over and over and over and over and over again, you have no choice but to be more open to accepting the opportunities, coaching or any other type of therapy, just being more open to the world because you've seen the darks of the dark and you know what that looks like. You never want to be there again. So if there's any opportunity for someone to help, I'm like, sign me up like immediately. I'm for that. And then when I realized I could do it for other people, Denzel Washington said the most selfish thing you can do is help other people. And I cannot express to you all the magnitude of joy and gratitude I get from getting to a person to that aha moment. Like, this was your block. This is what was really stopping you from achieving your maximum potential. This is how you get to the bottom of the V, and this is how you make your way out of it. I think that is one of the biggest things, and why I do what I do. Um, that's why I'm here. That's my purpose.
Love it. Yeah. Serving is just so profound, and it like magnetize that cup of yours as well. And just be able to see that person to make that shift, like you mentioned, is yeah, definitely profound.
When you serve others, you end up having multiple cups, and then you end up being able to pour into a lot of different people. So I haven't got a lot of cups yet, but I'm building that. My and another thing that I want to touch on is dreams. A lot of people dream things that are attainable, and I don't understand that. Like, I had a friend. She was like, "Yeah." I was like, she posted a picture. I was like, "Oh, model." Like, yeah. And she was like, I'm aiming towards a billboard." And in my head, I was like, "Yeah." And then in my head, I'm like, but that's been done before. Like, I was like, actually, you're thinking pretty small. Get back to me when you have something that hasn't been done before. She hasn't got back to me. My dreams right now are to, one, get my book translated and sent to every country on the planet, and then live to age 100 and impact. Well, now it's not a billion; it's like 7 billion people on the planet. So those are my dreams, and I say that because a lot of times it's true what they say. When you aim for the moon, you might hit the treetops. So if you aim high, you might hit someone, and it's not getting to that dream. It's not attaining that goal. It's the pursuit of it that will drive you to be a better person, to execute in your life. So dream big or don't dream at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely let that one marinate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you got me thinking. I'm like, dang, my dream's big enough. Like,
And it's just, I really, and this came to me like Sunday, and I was just like, if I can imagine your dream when you tell me what your dream is, it's not big enough. If I can see you doing, like, I want to be a TV anchor, and I can see you being a TV anchor, if I don't think you're absolutely bonkers when you tell me your dream, it's just not for you. It needs to be a little bit bigger. And it's out there for you, and your purpose is given to you. And something that Steven Spielberg said in one of his speeches is that something like your great ideas or the things that have changed the world don't yell at you. They're often said in the whispers. That small little voice that says, "Hey, you should try that," and you're like, "Oh, I'm not doing that." That's the thing you should probably see what's up with. So, dream big. Listen to the whispers.
Mm.
wow. What's funny is that like that's such a big dynamic, you know? It's like you've got these really big loud dreams and then, the inspiration comes, like in a whisper. It reminds me of something that I was watching or listening to with Alan Watts, where he was saying like the opportunity to really be like awaken to the true you, that usually comes as a surprise. It's not something that you can plan. So there's like, there's these big dreams, and then the whisper, and then there's like your true awakened self, but it comes as a surprise. Like you can't even like, like plan that out. It's just really amazing to like be with those dynamics and under like start to like absorb the like the comedy in it and also like the mystery in it.
Yeah, I like to say those whispers are like, if you're doing something or you were young and your parents were talking or whatever, and you're like that 2 year old that's like nagging, and like you're like, get away from me, like I'm doing something right now, but like, he just keeps doing that it keeps nagging, and at some point you look down and like they built something amazing. Like this pathway, I think the dreams are things you aim for, and the whispers are what creates the first step into getting on the pathway to that dream. So again, dream big, listen to the whispers, the dynamic, the range of things that happen in between those two places is infinite, and there are so many paths to get, like you said, to get to the end destination. But you just got to give life a try. That nothing comes from sitting in place. I don't let the feet grow on my grass. I'm always moving when possible, and I really feel like I'm gonna change the world.
You already are. Oh, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, you already are. And I love what you said before too, of finding more cups that you can help fill. By you just being who you are right now and us co-creating the space together, you're filling other people's cups. You're filling our cups right here, and you're filling our audience cups as well with your magic. So, I wanted to definitely, I guess, rewind it, slow down a little bit, and also acknowledge you for doing what you said you would like to do. You're already doing it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
So like we were about to go into that, like that spiritual talk of the purpose and listening to the whisperer. And I wanted to just give a quick perspective on my end about like how I feel like life is speaking to me. And I feel that like for each and every one of us, we all have our own unique gift that got to us from God, source, universe, whatever, the higher power, whatever people relate to. And it got embedded into us. It's sort of like a treasure that life helps us to be able to go deep into this treasure hunt and go into it. And those who are willing, like us three and the people out there, willing to really go there and search for that treasure and allow that treasure to grow, it allows us to really express that unique flavor of that treasure, which is, of course, expand ourselves, expand others, and help serve and help shift the consciousness to another vibration. So, and like you said, the comedy aspect of it, the whole comedy is you're already the treasure already. But once you get down to the treasure, and but as Kawan mentioned as well, that infinite always expanding. He's always looking to expand and get more into it. And that's what life is. That's what infinite's about. It's infinite is one is everything, and two is always expanding. And by us tapping into that infinite within us, we are always expanding. We are always in this place of love, and we're always serving, and we're that treasure. So that's my perspective of what I think about it. Of course, we all have our own way of interpreting what is happening, but for me, that's how I truly feel was happening. That's how I integrated for my life.
When you look at that gift, it is the only thing in life that can't be taken from you. They can take your freedom, they can take humanity, they can take a lot of things. They can take your time, your energy, they can take your partner, your business, whatever. But the gift you've been given by that source, God or the higher power, whatever you believe in, it's not redeemable. It can only be used by you, for you, and a lot of times for the benefit of everyone else. They say the graveyard is the most wealthy place on the planet because people that have lived this life, have experienced, have walked in your shoes, take their gifts, talents, ideas, and treasures with them. So, I first heard this on the Scorpion King, live full and die empty. And I believe that is the way we're meant to live. So I'm going to give it 120%, and I'm going to leave nothing on the table. So I'm going to write more books. I'm going to do more talks. I'm going to have more conversations. I'm going to make people see the best in themselves. And through that, I'm going to die with a smile on my face because I gave it all I had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I gotta watch the Scorpion King again.
Right?
Even the score, I think he said live free and die something, die well. But, whatever.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, same thing. I mean, sheesh, makes me intrigued now to like just watch movies to get that universal message that's in it,
Oh yeah.
like that. Like it's so cool. Synchronistically, you watch that movie and got that message that you're integrating now. There's so many powerful messages all the time. Like you said, the whispers. That's a perfect example of a whisper that happened, but you was able to hear the whisper.
And speaking of which, Dell, it was really interesting. Earlier, you said instead of saying "listen to the whispers," you said "listen to the whisperer." I don't know if you heard yourself when you said that, and
I
that was
did.
really
You
profound.
did, you did that.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Right. So when we're listening to the whisperer, there's something else going on there.
I think another movie that people don't even realize is powerful is The Lion King. And the one scene in particular I'm referencing is when Simba was coming back or trying to avoid coming back to the kingdom, and Rafiki hit him, the monkey hit him on the head with a stick, and then,
Yes.
oh, why'd you do that? Doesn't matter, it's in the past. And he swung it again, and he ducked, and that's kind of the way life is lived. That's actually a Buddhist principle. Um, when things happen, you can't cry over spilled milk because the milk's already spilled. All you can do is clean up and move forward. And that's how I look at life. When I make mistakes or errors, like it already happened, me dwelling on it, me trying to go back in time when it's not possible to fix it does nothing for me. And I've already learned the lesson. As long as I've learned the lesson I need to learn from, as long as I continue to duck the stick whenever it's swung at me again, I'm going to have a successful life and I'm going to achieve all the things I'm meant to achieve and nothing less. So people often, they find themselves stuck in a rut because they're stuck in the past or they're dwelling on the things they've said, thought, felt that were wrong. And something about people's feelings and emotions, they just are. You can't control them. They're like thoughts. They just are there. They just pop up. And you feel how you feel, but as long as you learn the lessons from those experiences, you're gonna be just fine. And I think that's just a beautiful way to live life. Things happen, but the results don't last forever. The
Mm,
lessons do.
yeah. And great reference to The Lion King because that scene, I love that scene. I posted quotes about or post a quote about it. And I would just pull up the quote from what Rafiki said to Simba after it. And it's just so powerful. Just to read it again just now. As it said, the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Oh man, Rafiki.
Good Mars. There are a lot of things in movies I realize that are really whispers. I think in the Dark Knight Rises, when when he when he was trying to get out of that cave and he had the rope around him, and in order to get out he had to let go of the rope, untie the rope. People often feel they don't give their all because they have a safety net. Oh, if I start this business, I mean, I still have my full-time job, so I'm not going to put all in. Or when I start this relationship, I'm good where I'm at right now, so I'm not going to put it all into this. Or when every opportunity, if there's something Will Smith said that kind of relates to it is having a plan B sometimes can distract you from plan A. And when you're able to put your all into a task or something that lies ahead of you that will create opportunity, step out on faith. I think that's a big part of my journey, just taking chances and seeing where it leads me and, what I can learn on that journey. I may stumble, I may fall, I may break some shit, but I'm learning along the way, and that will allow me to be a better person, a better man, a better human, um, all the rest of my days.
Mm, I love it. So do you feel like from like the whispers that you heard from the movies, and also just the way that you are going through life and the way that you navigate when the thoughts come up, do you feel that you are, or you have, and you still expanding from mastering your mindset?
Yeah, I think mastery is not, again, it's not our destination. It is a constant state of consistent evolution. Like my mindset today, I may master by the time I go to bed, but I'll wake up with a new mindset tomorrow, a new set of difficulties, a new set of challenges that I have to continually master. So a lot of times, oh, I got this great mindset today, but something may happen that may rattle you to your core, and you have to reassert your dominance on that mindset. So again, mastery, a lot of times they say 10,000 hours, and mindset mastery is you spend your life with your mind. So I think 10,000 hours is less than adequate. Every day, every week, a moment, thinking introspectively. You're assessing the things you've learned, said, thought, and felt, things you've done, and again, adjusting that person in the mirror to figure out who you really are on the inside, because you have three faces: the side you show the world, the side you show your loved ones, I think, and the side you have yourself. My path has led me to believe I'm moving towards showing the side I keep myself to the world, and showing them that being your ultimately your truest self is the, the world is lacking authenticity, and I'm starting to do the thing where like Kanye, he be talking and then he'll break off on a lot of different thoughts. So I'm trying to wrap this all into a button. Um,
I call it cat syndrome for me.
Mindset mastery is is tied in with authenticity, and I believe that's what the world's lacking. So when I allow myself to use my superpower, my magic, and being vulnerable, and allowing the world to know my story, um, damn it. Another good movie is 8 Mile. That was a great movie. And then the last scene where he's rapping against the final rapper or whatever, and
Yeah.
instead of dissing the guy, he raps about himself and says, "Now what can you say about me?" I think that that was a key part of my transformation. When I put this book out, I've said all the horrible things, I've done all the horrible things, I've thought all the horrible things that I can think about myself. No one in the world can hurt me. I'm spiritually invulnerable because I've laid all my bones, my skeletons outside of the closet. I've said all the things, I've done all the things. Now it allows me to walk into spaces and find light in the darkness. I am that light in the darkness now. My job is to bridge the gap between the darkness and the light at the end of the tunnel. And again, bring you out of victimhood into victory and become the hero of your story. And that's what I'm here for.
Mm,
So
yeah,
my mindset is constantly being remastered.
yeah.
I have a question, kind of like stemming from our conversation about movies. I feel like I go watch The Matrix, all three of them, like over and over and over again, and get something different each time that I listen to it. But I realize it's because my listening is different. I'm
Mm,
listening as the person that I am in the moment, as opposed to the person that I
mm,
was, the other times that I watched it. So I get something different from it. And then I took that concept and I said, well, how am I listening to myself? How am I listening to others in the world? And then I started playing a game. If I listen to other people as whole, complete, and perfect, they show up that way. If I listen to this movie as a movie that I'm gonna get something out of, I get something out of it. So I'm so curious, like how have you noticed, your listening is for for other people, or even for yourself, or for those voices in your head? Are they like, are they your friends? Are they your foes? How are you relating to them?
When I listen to other people, I don't have expectations. So I see it as it's presented. I hear it as it's presented. I feel it as it's presented. And I also am very in tune with, like, I watch a lot of body language. I understand eye contact and, the human body and how most of communication takes place there. It always allows me to dig deeper with a person, and sometimes people aren't ready for that. So I'm very vigilant to how intrusive or how they feel about what I'm saying. But my biggest thing is understanding that when I expect to find something, I'm going to find it. And it may not be what's there, but I'll create that illusion or that thought pattern that there's something wrong. So if I go into a conversation, let's say like with you, and I was just like, I think there's something wrong there. So I'm going to find anything in your being to justify that. When I enter a space or a conversation or a relationship with no expectations, I get whatever you're presenting, and then I can make an honest judgment, and then I can really evolve the conversation or relationship or whatever it is into something that is meant to be, not what I want it to be. And that's just no expectation allows me to really delve into the real person, and it allows me to show up for them and be a space of no judgment, be a space of safety, because I really don't care what you've done, what you thought, or what you said, or what you believe. You're a human being, so let's make you better. You're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some background noise going on over here, but it's all good.
I was just like, and a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just with that, there's so many things that can be listened for, and what a great way to summarize that.
Yeah, there's always the message in everything we do. Like, I'm pretty sure if I stayed at the light on my desk long enough, I could find something in it. Um, you know, I titled the book Favor, um, and I didn't really know what it meant at first. And there was a time where my grandmother and I were dealing with that medical debt. Uh, and I remember the day I was sitting in my guest room bed, and I was adding up the numbers trying to figure out how much, we owe. And I was thinking, oh, a couple 100,000, whatever. And then it totaled up to 1.2 million. And I was like, it's not possible. Like, there's no way. And I did it again, and it was 1.2 billion. I'm just like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, I'm not. I just had brain surgery. Like, I don't understand how they expect me to be able to pay this. And she said a couple of things during that time, but she encouraged me to harass the insurance agency, which I did. Every day I called, what's new, and they're like, you just called yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, I'll call again tomorrow. Thanks for letting me know that. And I took a level of perseverance, but one of the first things she said is, Kwan, you can't get blood off a turnip. And that's when I knew, like, as much as they asked for that money, as much as they asked for my time, as much as they wanted things they wanted, I didn't have it, so I didn't have to give. And that's the thing we talked about at the beginning. People are going to ask and take and want to receive, but if you don't have it to give, you cannot allow yourself to stoop to that level to give from it. This is my way of bringing everything full circle, by the way. And another thing she said is, and I have it quoted on my poster there: favor ain't fair. It's just favor. And when the higher power or God or whoever you believe in, the source, wants to bestow grace and mercy upon you, it's not something you can ask for. It's not something you can earn. It's just given. And at different times in your life, a lot of people experience favor and they don't realize it. Like, there was a dream I had during my second surgery, and I'll tell it to you real quick. So I was in the dream state, and I had boxed before, so everything's working. I'm throwing punches. I'm in a hoodie and a jeans jacket. Then it starts to rain, and the rain is black, and I start to float up, and the rain's not touching me. So at this point, I'm watching it from two different perspectives, point of view, and I'm watching a painter's canvas. And as I get to that top of the canvas, there's like a hand waiting up there and pushes me back down. And the last thing I hear is, "You're not done yet." I don't know how to explain that, but favor. It ain't fair. It's just favor. So when I think about
We're gonna get back.
oh, we're back. Okay, yeah, having the ability to speak to you guys when I had to go through weeks of speech therapy. There's no feeling on this side of my face. There's no feeling inside of my mouth on this side. I can, I can't. I'm not able to run right now, but I still have the power to change lives. I can explain that. I can explain why all this happened in the order that it did, and how I'm able to weave different narratives from movies and life and this bamboo put on my desk and share that story in a way that it impacts people's lives and gives people a little inspiration. It's just favor, and sometimes favor ain't fair. It's just favor. Fill your cup and give your favor to the world.
Yeah, that. So here we go. Let's show everybody where they can find you. Boom.
Yes, sir. That is my book link and my Instagram. Those are the places. Instagram is probably where you go find me the most, but I'm actually pretty active on Facebook now. So again, just Google my name. I think I'm only like one of two Kawan Glovers on the planet, so uh, I'm probably the most active one. But it has been a pleasure and an honor, and I like to say to you and your audience, the darkest night always comes for the brightest morning, and your morning, my morning, our morning is on the way.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do, for all that you are, and for being here with us and the people that are watching and listening. This is so important, and we're super grateful for you.
It was a pleasure being here, and I love you all, and I'm grateful for your life.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And love you.
Likewise.
Yeah, love you too. And thank you for showing up and with your magic and powerful, powerful message, not just for myself and Kai, but for everyone out there, including yourself too. And just wanted to acknowledge you for just the amazing work that you're doing to help others to understand more about themselves and go deeper within themselves to bring that out. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Oh, let's see. And you got some comments. This was great. Awesome. And we'll catch everybody next week. Same place, same time. Take care, everyone.
Stay magical.
Peace.